October 8th.
September 8th.
September 8th. I'm not starting over again.
That's right.
September 8th, and lots of progress going on at the job site. And I am here with Bryan,
Yep.
one of my builders, and you introduce yourself.
Bryan Ehret, one of the owners of Creation Craftsmen, and we are in the process of getting this thing out of the ground.
All right, so the most important part of what you're doing right now, the number one thing is what?
Is getting the footer right, because the footer establishes everything from here on up, all the way through the roof. So if the footer's not square, if it's not deep enough, if it's not, the step downs aren't proper, then your wall's not going to go up straight, and you're going to get to the top and realize the whole house is wrong. So
And is a footer different on an ICF?
the footer's different on an ICF. As you can see, we built a box in here. Typically you'll dig like we did and just pour the concrete down in the hole, use your dirt as your sidewalls. But what we do is we build a box so we can set our track on it for the ICF. So what we did is we established grade down at the bottom of the footer, because everything has to be below the frost line. So that was our first point, was establishing our high point and low point of the house, and then that dictated where the frost line was going to fall.
Okay.
So once we built the box, or once we established that, then we built the box, and as you can see, we staked it, and so we raised the box up and down to level it all the way around. Once we did that, we had to figure out the math for stepping down the footer, because if you dig the footer, so the low point is over here in that corner. If we dug that all the way to the high point over on the other side, the right side of the house would have been nearly 5 foot in the ground.
Whoa.
So that's a lot of material to take out, and a lot of time digging, and there's not really a whole lot of place to put material. So what we did is we stepped the footer down, as you can see on the front here.
Let's walk over there so I can hear you.
So we have this is our kind of our grade level, the top.
Okay.
So then we stepped it here, which is 12 inches, is 12-inch step down,
Okay.
because these blocks here, our ICF blocks, are 12 inches tall.
Okay.
So every step will make this ride right under the one above it, and it'll just lock down into it. So,
Okay.
and another thing that people don't realize when they're forming up a box like this is a 2x12. People that don't know would think it's 12 inches.
Yeah.
It's not. It's 11 1/4.
Yeah.
So we put the slats underneath of it to get the full 12 inches. So that way those blocks can lock together good. So we have 1 step, 2 step, 3 step down here, which gets us 36 inches from the high point to the low point.
Okay, lots of math.
Lots of math. So we'll have 1 block here, 4 blocks down there.
Okay.
Low point. So after we dug the hole and figured out the math on getting the step downs, then we started forming up the box, and of course everywhere that it drops you have to head it off, because the concrete would just continue to flow. So you can see right there the head that we put in, so the concrete will flow underneath of that and only come up to the next step down.
Okay.
And you can see we bent the rebar to go up the slope there, so the rebar is continuous from one step to the other.
Right.
A lot of people will just stop the rebar at that point and stop it at the high point, but then it doesn't really connect your high footer to your low footer there.
Okay.
So it's all about stability. The biggest thing at this point in the project is level, square, and stability. So the rebar and all that stuff's all tied together, and then everything is square, and then that essentially, all the clips, these things, will help us level up the block.
Okay.
So those are the main things for where we're at now. As you can see, we have string running everywhere, all the pink string. So we actually created the outside wall with the string to dictate where we set the outside track on, in order to make sure that we were running square.
Okay.
Because a lot of times when you're just digging the footer, you're digging with a piece of equipment like that, it's not very elegant, you know, on your digging. So
Yeah.
the footer box itself may not be square, but we square the track on the footer box.
Okay, cool. Glad you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to shut this one, and then we're going to talk a little about the footer itself.
Okay.